Everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today is a little swan song for the soon-to-be reworked Sona to give my thoughts on how I feel Sona's rework will really help her as a champion, especially more putting her not quite the category of a battle mage like Karma is, because she's quite different to how her PC counterpart is, Karma. I feel like Sona will be still between the OG Sona to more towards your battle mage Karma. I don't think we'll see Sona go to like an APC anytime soon. She will still always be support, but she'll have a little bit more of outplay potential in her kit. So I just wanted to give my overview as we watch some gameplay, because this is not a typical champ I ever play. This is probably the first time I've ever played Sona. So I'm just going to give my thoughts over this gameplay as I normally do about it. But yeah, like I was saying in the introduction, this is probably the first time I've ever played Sona. As we know so far that it's going to get changed with her passive, is that now after you've procced 3 abilities, you will get 3 stacks, and then that next attack will do a staccato note, which will stun the enemy rather than being like a more of an empowered ability already. So that's going to be really interesting. A lot of outplay potential. As you can see, I've already stacked my 3 stacks there on old Sona. Coming into new Sona, you will see that when she gets those 3 abilities off, she will do a staccato note, which is golden, just like her ultimate, and she will do a stun. So I feel like we're going to get more of a Annie times Sona in these lanes. Obviously, Sona is definitely a lot more support orientated than Annie, but having that stun in her kit is going to be massive. And obviously with her new ultimate as well, being able to travel through minions, it goes in a direction very slowly but stuns the enemies that it affects in that area of effect. It's not just sort of like shoot out a wave in front of you, everyone can dash or ghost out the way on the enemy team. It's more of a gradual thing. So maybe closing in onto the enemy champions may be something that's a more outplayed style of Sona with this new kit. With this being the first time I've ever played Sona, I really actually enjoyed playing this champion as a support. Obviously, she can't play anything else. If you tried anything else, I think you'd be a little bit insane in the membrane. But as you'll see later on in the game, I feel like I really influenced the outcome of this match, which you don't normally get that satisfaction when you're playing a support champion. You're either just sort of propping up your ADC to the point where they get fed, or you're just in these team fights where you can actually make some outplay potentials and turn the tide of the battle. Whereas with Sona, I felt like in this match, her healing, her movement speed increase, but then also her attacks, her first ability when you've actually stacked your passive with her, I felt like she actually do some damage, especially for build, which you would expect. For build champion should do some damage, not massive amounts of damage, but damage that's really going to sort of turn things into your favor, into little 2v2 interactions or full-on team fights. But so far on my team, we're not doing the best. Enemy team are currently up 3 kills to 1. We haven't really done much in this top lane. I feel like the Jinx and Yumi combo is probably a lot harder to play against. Having a Triss that's not quite aggressive enough to dive into trying to make these outplay potentials for herself, trying to claw some early game kills. Rather, we're just seeing quite a snooze match. But you could see how different this lane would actually play out if we had Sona's new passive. It'd be playing out a lot better because I would be focusing, I'd be getting up those stacks as we're going for an engage. To have a stun in my kit when you're against the Jinx and the Yumi combo would be really good, because you are stunning both of those champions in place. So I feel like when this rework does come around, it's going to be massive. I mean, this Jinx was a little bit... I think they were just hoping for the best. They were just poking and hoping for the best and hoping just to sort of whittle down the Tristana. But I actually was taking quite a few shots for Tristana. Redact that. She just actually landed a Yumi first ability onto the Tristana, as I was saying. Yeah, I was taking all the shots. But no, normally as an Enchantress or supports that are like Sona, I don't normally take shots for my teammates. I'm always running scared. I mean, to be fair, I don't normally play support. I probably played this a little bit horribly, but knowing that Volibear had a lot of health, I thought, you know what, I'll just sort of take my time getting into that team fight and see what happens, see what comes of it. We managed to get 1 kill, but I feel like if I was in that team fight a little bit earlier, Volibear may have been alive a little bit longer. Tristana was just doing what Tristana does best, which is if you're a bad Tristana, you rocket jump into the team fights and die and then blame somebody else. And that's what she just did in that interaction there. She literally rocket jumped in, knowing that Volibear was probably 1/3 health left. Thinking, yeah, well, I probably can get a kill here. She did some damage, but she didn't do anything too crucial, especially when Jinx gets those last hits and gets that movement speed increase, but also gets a shield as well. It's kind of hard to sort of try and take out that Jinx when she has that movement speed increase and attack speed increase, and not only that, the shield from Yuumi. So yeah, probably not the wisest thing for this Tristan to do, but look at it, always getting caught off guard, rather than knowing her placement, staying in lane. We knew that the Teemo was at this side of the map anyway. I think Teemo was the enemy jungler on this match, which was crazy. I was like, why would you go for a Teemo jungler? It didn't really work great. I feel like that's probably one of the win conditions that we had, was the fact that they didn't have a proper jungler. I will never see Teemo as a proper jungler. And look, this is a great interaction for our team. We was very far behind. We were 7-4. No, bad maths. 7-3 going into that interaction. Now we're 6-7. So like I was saying, Sona's healing potential and that movement speed increase is a great thing for these 3v3s. It just gives you and your team a lot more sustainability, because you're not only just healing one champion, you're healing within that AoE. And I'm glad that's not what's changing about Sona, because if that changed about Sona, it would basically just destroy who she is as a champion and her whole shtick. Anyway, she is the mummy milkers of healing and giving movement speed increase and also doing a little bit of damage. But now with this rework, we're going to be seeing that staccato note as a stun when she procs 3 of her abilities and her passive goes off. Here I'm able to cast my ultimate into that bush that we were going, where that whole interaction was evolved in. Slowing but also stunning the Jinx would mean that I'd be able to get further away from her, heal up, and if she tried to do that tower dive like she did in that interaction, she would have probably died. Oh, so enemy manages to take our turret back, but oh man, once you get Sona actually up quite a bit, that ult stun is nutty. I feel like this new stun, or this new ult, will probably be very OP to begin with. I feel like Sona will be one of those enchantresses that gets played quite a bit. I feel like she'll take the place of Nami, because Nami's ult obviously also goes in a direction but only knocks up. Whereas Sona's ult, yes, it doesn't travel as far, but it's a great engage piece of kit. So having a slow stun going towards the enemy team, not only are you potentially using it as a split team fight mechanic, you could also catch out some really bad players with that ultimate, because you've got this big gold AoE orb coming towards you, slowing you down, then stunning you. And you've got to try and make that heads or tails split situation option in the moment and be like, you know what, do I go around it? Do I go through it? Do I try and survive it? And I think that's going to be the thing that when you go against the Sona, those are the things, well, a good Sona, shall I say. I think a bad Sona, I think we still get some really bad champions, really bad players on this champion, I think, going into patch 4.4. But when you have somebody that's already pretty cracked on Sona right now, I feel like this rework is going to make these players 10 times more effective. Not better, because they're already basically mastered the champion, but they're going to be a lot more effective at playing this champion, at making these outplay potentials. It would take a lot more mastery of the champion, especially these people that sort of pick up the champion when they see a YouTuber saying, oh, S plus Sona, S plus tier Sona plays, blah, 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 APC, new best APC to play in Wildrift. And then you go and see everyday Joe Blogs try and play the Sona down in APC in the duo lane and gets absolutely slaughtered. So I think that's just something to adhere by, is just, if you're going into patch 4.4 thinking, yo, I'm going to play this APC Sona all the time, I feel like maybe this transitioning into patch 4.4 and Sona's rework, maybe master her kit right now as a support. And if you're going to play her AP, play her AP support, like people play AP Rakan or, you know, AP Karma. We're going to see a lot more mages come into the Rift, because I feel like everything else going into that patch seems really weak. But having like a high health champion like Volibear on your team, and then having a Sona that just can heal that champion back up, is just such an asset to have on your team. I mean, imagine if I was paired with this Nasus. Look how long it's taken Nasus to kill me, because I have the AoE heal. I have the movement speed to get me out of there when he slows me down. I have the damage to deal onto him as well. I've just set up a nice triple kill there for Renekton, and possibly a Drake here. We do know that Teemo is still alive and round this part of the map. There he is. There he rears his ugly head. But I'm still in the team fight because of all this healing. Like, Sona's healing potential is crazy. I don't understand why more people don't play her. Instead, we see the likes of either a tank support abuser, or you just see somebody that goes Enchantress, but it's normally players that go Enchantress support generally go for Lulu, but they don't play Lulu to her best potential. They try and play her very offensive, but they don't know how to play offensive. They just try and land quite a bit of poke damage onto them. But then when it comes into the late game, when they don't know where or who to proc her ultimate on, she kind of fizzles out. But whereas Sona, you can't really go wrong with her right now, because all her buffs, all her healing is AoE. You don't have to click on anybody. You just click your button and just stay next to them. Stay next to them and get a little bit of healing. I've stole a kill there from my ADC. I'm very sorry, but we are ahead now, so I feel like I have that leeway. I have that 11 assists. I've only just stolen 1 kill out of 12 kills I've participated in, so I feel like that's good. But yeah, look at that. That stun is just horrendous. So going in with her new ult, that stun will just travel towards the Nasus, slowing him down and stunning him. It's gonna, when enemy teams see you use that ultimate, it's gonna keep them away. It's gonna stop them. It's gonna really knock their confidence with going into a team fight that they would necessarily go into. So say for example that Ziggs would have got into that team fight there, as we saw. But when that Sona new ult comes out, you're gonna see that Ziggs like, oh, I don't want to get caught out by that slow or stun. I'm gonna stay the heck away from that whole interaction and just see how Nasus does. Let's see if Nasus survives. So I feel like that's what's going to happen with this upcoming patch. But look what I just did there. I just completely negated Yumi's ult. She didn't even get to stun me. Yes, I died there, but I literally took so many hits from Yumi's ult, didn't get stunned because I had that movement speed. So he had a little bit of a complaint there on Volibear, trying to take red buff. We're 14 minutes in. We needed you in that team fight in the mid lane. I probably would have survived if that was the case. But here we go. Hey ho, hey ho. Double kill for Tristana. She's now popped up. She's now activated. Triple kill for Tristana. Considering how bad the player was playing early game, they're doing very well. But once again, Tristana is one of those champions that's like Kaiser. So if you struggle early game, you are going to activate mid to late game. As long as your enemy team's not stomping you too bad, you can still activate. You can still be very effective when you activate late game. But I'm putting it all down to the great support player of this match. So, fill my own boots there. We managed to get the Baron Nashor. How many dragons did we get? I think we've got 1 or 2 dragons. So, but the one other thing I'm really looking forward to in patch 4.4, being a jungle main, is how this Dragon Soul mechanic really changes the priority of the jungle. I think we'll be seeing a lot more of a push for Rift Herald first, especially if it's the like of the Mountain Drake. So we know what Mountain Drake's Dragon Soul does because of Stu's fantastic video. If you manage to get Mountain Drake Soul, or the first dragon you slay is the Mountain Drake, you will get a shield. One shot out of combat every 5 seconds. You get a shield that takes 210 damage, which, when you think about it, isn't the greatest. You're probably going to see people dart for the dragon first. If it's more so like the Infernal Drake, which obviously doesn't mark the enemy. The Ice Dragon marks the enemy. The Infernal Drake just does like does explosions. It does an explosion after a certain time. So that's obviously going to be really helpful, having that damage over time on very strong champions, very damage dealy champions. Not too sure what Seraphim was doing within that Ziggs ult. She took it right on the chin like a champion. She wasn't afraid. But speaking of Ziggs, he is also the other champion getting a rework in patch 4.4. Not as big as Sona's, not as massive or game-changing as Sona's, I don't think, because the only things that are changing on Ziggs is his passive now works on turrets, and his ultimate is easier to aim. So that's going to be really interesting to see, but I don't think it's going to be as game-changing as the Sona rework. Look at that. Volibear down in the bot lane. Let's Mountain Drake go. Stupid. Stupid. But back to my jungle thought trial there. So I'm really interested to see how this changes jungle in patch 4.4 because of the Dragon Soul mechanic. Because ultimately you could deny your enemy team the whole Dragon Soul because the dragons don't stack now, so they don't scale throughout the game. So once you get the Fire Drake first, say for example, you will just get that 6% AP or AD damage increase. And then if you get the Ocean Drake, you get the obviously the 2% health regen. It doesn't actually go up anymore, and it doesn't boost the Infernal Drake. So if you manage to stop the acquisition of the third Drake, that's 15 minutes in. You pretty much late game at that point. You've pretty much either ended the match or going to end the match. But if you deny them getting that Dragon Soul, it's going to be a massive upset for the enemy team. So imagine you managed to get the Rift Herald first, but you've pushed mid lane. You've got such a massive prioritized minion wave in mid lane. The third and final Drake is up for what your enemy team needs for that Dragon Soul. You deny it. Their two dragons instantly become useless. Like, yes, they give them some sort of buff. It's not as great as what it used to be. But with that lesser buff on these dragons, they're also very, very weak. Like, it's not going to take a whole team to take a dragon anymore. It's literally just going to be just the jungler. The jungler won't have to rely on a good team. But when what the jungler will have to rely on is having a good team to secure the 3 dragons, I feel. Because those with game knowledge are going to be like, okay, they've got 2 dragons. Let's not let them get this 3rd dragon, because if they do, they're going to get a potentially a massive game-changing Dragon Soul, whether it be the Ice Dragon, whether it be the Infernal Dragon. I know people say every patch, like, oh my god, this is like the next best thing. But potentially it could be. This could potentially change Wildrift for the better or for the worse. I feel like they're doing it to get more players onto the game. I feel like having a role that's going to be massively different now, which is mages. Mages are going to have a whole new orientation because not everybody wants to play ADC, because even me, I think ADC is probably one of the most boring roles. So knowing that you can have a mage in mid, a mage in the duo lane, you could potentially have a mage in the Baron lane as well if you wanted to, or an AP champion like Echo. You will see in my Echo Baron lane, and that whole video is going to be about Echo winning pretty much every lane other than duo lane, because you can't sort of play Echo in duo. Well, you could do, unless if you're against a brain dead team and they don't know how to play against you. But look at this, look at that heal. If it weren't for my heal, that Jinx would have just literally got a pentakill, and we would have been in trouble. I don't think they would have won the match, but we would definitely would have been in trouble. But the fact we got minions down in the mid lane at the Nexus, Baron lane at the Nexus as well. Ziggs is up, Teemo's up, but that's not too much. There's that stun onto the Ziggs. Nobody to actually take the kill onto the Ziggs, so we just focus the Nexus and get the W. But yeah, normally my videos are me talking about my plays in that match, but I just wanted to sort of waffle a little bit about the Sona rework that is coming in patch 4.4, and just give my thoughts, what I feel like it's going to bring to the game, what I feel like it's going to bring to the champion. What I ultimately want to know, though, is what are your thoughts on this rework of Sona? Are you going to love it? Are you going to hate it? If you've not played Sona before, is this going to make you play Sona now? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will catch you on the next video, guys. Peace.